Hi everybody, Kirsty, Goddess of Neptune here. I hope you're doing really well. Recording this message for you on Friday, the 7th of July, 2023, 777 Portal Day. So for those of you not aware, of course, 7th of July, 7-7, and then 2023, okay, 2 and 2 and 3 is 7. So we've got 3 sevens in today's date, 777 Portal, and 7, if you're into your numerology, is that number of divinity. So this could be a very powerful day when it comes to our connection with divinity, that source power we have within us, and it's heightened because we've got the 3 sevens. Not to mention that, not only to mention that, should I say, but the astrology report, because I thought I'd just take a look at the astrology for today. I chose the time of 7 p.m. That's in the UK, of course, so it's going to be different elsewhere in the world. I appreciate that, but it's an extra 7 for you. So there we go, an extra number of divinity for this astrology report today. And there's a few things I noticed when I looked at the chart, so I'll pull that up in a bit, and then I'll take some cards after just to pull the general energy, okay? So let's jump right in. Actually, before I do, what I will say is we have had quite a lot going on since the full moon in Capricorn on the 3rd of July. Have you felt it? Did you feel the energy? Fairly intense. Full moon in Capricorn, of course, it's not the best place for the moon to be. It can be uncomfortable because it's the opposite sign to the moon's home of Cancer, and we are in Cancer season. So there could have been that very much a push-pull energy that we get on the full moon anyway, if you're sensitive to lunar energy, but particularly harsh place for the moon to be, Capricorn. It can have that sort of regimented feel to it, but restricted feel to it. And certainly within our emotions, we want to be free-flowing with our emotions, like that Cancerian energy. But in Capricorn, there's a harshness to it. And there's loads of other stuff going on in the charts. If you've seen my recent astrology reports, you'll be aware of the deep transformation we're being called to do with Pluto, the lessons Saturn is serving up, as well as other things going on. So it's not just about the moon, but the moon can heighten things, and on a full moon it can certainly illuminate things for us as well. And my most recent astrology report was about the full moon in Capricorn, but also because Neptune retrograded as well just beforehand. So we've got Neptune in retrograde, and that can bring up hidden aspects. So with the full moon illuminating stuff as well, there could be, or could have been for you, if it resonates, hidden truths coming to the surface, that illumination of hidden truths. And it's all for our highest good, it's all to help us. But that can be difficult to process depending on the situation, which is why with a full moon in Capricorn, it can add that extra bit of harshness to it. So we've had that full moon. Yes, it's been very intense. There's been lots of shifts going on as well. We're all going through this journey of transformation. So we're shifting, we're evolving, and you can probably feel that again if you're sensitive to the energy and you're resonating with this, okay? So we've had that. Mercury will be moving into Leo on the 11th of July, so in a few days' time. And also then we have a new moon coming up on the 17th or 18th of July, depending on where you are in the world. So that's a new moon in Cancer. And not long after that, we have Venus going retrograde, and that's on the same day as the sun moves into Leo. So we will then be in Leo season. So this is the 23rd of July. And Venus will retrograde. At the moment, she's only 4 degrees away from Mars in this report I'm going to show you. So there is that conjunction between Mars and Venus, the masculine and the feminine. But of course, they will drift further apart because Venus will be retrograding. So let's pull up the chart. Okay. And whilst I do that, I will just mention that if you're not familiar with my astrology reports, this is based on my interpretations of the astrological information that is in front of me. It's a freeze frame of the cosmos at the moment that I'm looking at. So as I mentioned, 7th of July, 2023 at 7 p.m. for us in the UK. So that's 777 plus an extra 7 for you. And lots of coloured lines on there as per my usual style, because it draws my attention into what I look at when I'm looking at the chart beforehand. So I'm drawn to particular things, spirit guides me to particular things, and it's all to help you. These messages are all to help you on your journey. Okay, if it resonates for you, then fabulous. If it doesn't, park it, walk on by. Okay, this is based on my interpretations of the transits. And when I pull up the UK's chart, which is to give some context to the transits and how it might be affecting the UK's collective, if it doesn't resonate with you whatsoever, leave it, walk on by, that's fine. Okay, but there may be someone out there that this could help. There may be some messages in there that can help someone on their journey. Okay, so I'll just put that out there first and foremost. So when we look at this chart, okay, amidst all the colors that's going on, I'm just going to draw your attention to the moon down here in Pisces. So the moon is in Pisces, and you know, we won't pay too much attention to the house system here. It's going to be more appropriate when I pull up the UK's chart. Okay, so don't focus on the houses at this moment in time for this event. This is based on it as an event, 7 o'clock tonight. The moon will be in Pisces, 14 degrees. And of course, in Pisces, we also have Saturn and Neptune, both of which are in retrograde. And the moon is kind of between the two, as you can see. So the moon in Pisces is a very sensitive place for the moon to be. So there may be certain things coming up that is increasing sensitivity in our emotions at this moment in time. That could relate to the transformation that we're being called to do, could relate to the change we're being called to do. It could relate to the lessons that Saturn's serving up, and it can relate to the hidden truth that Neptune is also illuminating, as well as that full moon that we had not long ago. So it's a sensitive place for the moon to be. Now, especially for those of us who are empathic, it can be extremely sensitive, and also those of us with a moon in Pisces or who are Piscean, so myself included in that collective. And it's just extra sensitivities to be aware of, okay? So that's where the moon is. And what I will say about where we have the sun, okay, so the sun is in Cancer, as we know it's Cancer season. And the sun is there with Mercury and Juno in Cancer. Lilith is also there as well. Okay, but with regards to the sun and Juno particularly, there is a nice trine, okay, indicated by the green line that I've got there. There is a nice trine between them and Saturn. So where I've mentioned about, you know, lessons that Saturn is serving up, could be some karmic stuff coming up as well. The sun is actually helping us through, you know, that soul essence, the power of our soul, getting through that, because we're needing to be brought into alignment with our divine truth. Saturn is in Pisces, the house of the divine. He is asking for us to get in line with our spiritual truth. And now being retrograde, okay, as well as Pluto, which is the deep transformation, this is that period, that offering of introspection that our soul can then assist us with, because we're reliant on our intuition from our soul essence. That's our connection to divinity. And the Cancerian energy allowing us to flow with that, because both Saturn and the sun are in water signs. But that empowerment from our soul to really acknowledge the lessons that Saturn is showing us during this period of introspection. Now, I know, of course, the sun is going to move into Leo, because I've just mentioned that earlier on. And that's all about that kind of, you know, the fire energy, but the full expression of self, the true expression of self. And that's what we want to be. We want to be our full expression of self, our true expression of self. So Saturn is helping us get in line with our spiritual truth. And we've got the nurturing energy of the Cancerian season to help us, because it is that divine feminine, nurturing, motherly energy. So that's supporting us through our natural soul essence, if we can access that. And because of the trine, that, you know, that's a positive aspect. So even though Saturn might be serving up some quite harsh truth to us, it's all for our highest good. And with Juno being there in that trine, particularly, relates to partnerships. So the partnerships that we have that are in alignment with us could be helping us through this as well. And there is a need to almost not rely as such, because that creates an energy of codependency, but to recognize that where partnerships are there for us in harmony, in alignment with our soul's truth, that they can actually serve as a great comfort at this time whilst we're going through all of this, whilst we're learning all of these lessons. Now, not to mention that partnerships plus Saturn, I can't not mention karma and karmic relationships, karmic partnerships. They don't have to be romantic relationships here. This is just partnerships. Of course, Juno does represent love and marriage. So yes, there is emphasis on that. But in terms of the partnership energy I'm feeling, the trine is there to help illuminate these lessons that Saturn is serving up that could relate to karmic partnerships, maybe even from the past or past lives. So our soul, again, in harmony with that, is helping us flow through the acceptance and acknowledgement of all of this, because the karmic stuff that's been coming up, and even from past lives, not to mention just previously in this lifetime, but past lives, can be quite harsh because it can be quite overwhelming. But getting into alignment with our divine truth, Saturn in the house of the divine, spiritual lessons, we're understanding why certain things have happened, why certain partnerships have been the way they've been in this lifetime, previously, whatever, however it resonates for you. We're understanding this. This is all part of Saturn teaching us. And because of Pluto calling for deep transformation, not surface level stuff, deep transformation, it's been heavy. And Pluto is now back in Capricorn, because part of his retrograde, he retrograded back into Capricorn. So I've mentioned in the previous astrology report, it's almost like he's cleaning house. He's gone back into Capricorn, which is Saturn's home, and is almost working in tandem with Saturn. You know, Saturn's kind of saying, right, I've got this. I'm in the house of the divine. I'm going to make sure people are in line with their spiritual truth. And if they want to go round again and learn the lesson another time, absolutely fine, no problem. I'll take them through this lesson again. Might be a bit harsher the next time, but they'll learn it because the soul essence is supporting them through it. Karmic stuff is going to be thrown at them, but I need them to learn. So Saturn is saying all of that. And Saturn is saying to Pluto, whilst I'm here doing that, and you've got that job on your hands of calling for deep transformation, why don't you just go back into my house, back into Capricorn, final degrees, the harshest place that a planet can be in a sign, just to clean house, just to make sure we've got, you know, the structures, the sort of systems, anything that we might attribute to that Saturn energy. So, you know, time rules karma, again, karma. So Pluto is now cleaning house for Saturn, it feels. So they're working hand in hand, in my view. This is my interpretation of it. But if this feels like it's resonating for you because it's been heavy transformation and you're having to really go into what structures are in place in your life and what needs to be transformed, are there any foundations that you felt were once stable that were actually never stable, and now this is where the change is needed? Is Saturn showing you stuff about karmic situations, why certain things have happened the way they've happened? And it's teaching you. So we're learning from this, we're evolving, and we're becoming wiser. So we're making Saturn happy, we're making Pluto happy. That's what we want. We want to make ourselves happy because we want to be that full expression of self. And these planets and the planetary bodies, the asteroids, are helping us, because when we're aware of the energy and what could be causing this intensity, it helps us understand better, you know, why things are in place to help us through these moments in our life. Okay. Now, part of this transformation journey that we've been on for a while relates to our healing, because when we heal, we transform. and it goes hand in hand. So Chiron is also at play. Now Chiron is here in Aries, okay? And there is a trine between Chiron and Venus up here, both of which are in fire signs, Chiron in Aries, Venus in Leo. So the divine feminine energy within Leo is supporting the Chiron energy within Aries, okay? And Chiron in Aries, our healing journey relating to our sovereignty, that Aries energy of the self, the warrior self, the courage. So we're having to find the courage through all of this healing. Where is our courage? Has it been knocked because of experiences we've been through, because of people we've been connected to, and we're transforming and healing all of that? But this is a reminder that the feminine energy of Venus here is helping us. There is a trine, it's a positive aspect. And certainly recognizing that, you know, Venus and Mars are closer together at this moment in time is bringing into balance the feminine and masculine elements within us. So the masculine elements of the courage, taking action, that tenacity, that go-getter attitude, but also the feminine energy of nurturing and the manifestation, you know, when you think of birthing something new, like the Empress, okay, in tarot, but also being open to receive. So we want to be able to give, but we need to also receive. That's the balance. So Chiron with the sovereignty, perhaps we've been giving too much. And part of this healing is recognizing we need to be open to receive, or it's safe to receive, or we're worthy of receiving as a sovereign being. And as I say, Mars and Venus closer together, so that harmony coming back in, and that is helping the healing journey. So that's why there is a trine there. But we need to recognize the feminine energy, certainly at the moment, because we're in Cancer season, is supporting this. It's supporting what we're going through with Saturn. It's supporting what we're going through with Pluto. You know, there is power to that. And we need to embrace the feminine energy within, regardless of gender or how we identify. Okay, and then the final trine I'll mention before I bring up the UK chart, of course, is Ceres, okay, in Libra, and Pluto. So the deep transformation that Pluto's calling for, cleaning house in Saturn's house, working hand in hand with Saturn in that respect, is being supported by Ceres energy, which is that expansive energy. Ceres is in Libra. That's all about fairness and reciprocity and justice. So again, Pluto is helping us transform the deep stuff, not surface level. This is deep stuff. It's scorpionic energy. So it's deep rooted stuff. And Ceres is that expansive energy. It's like a mini Jupiter, but it still has that expansive energy. So with regards to fairness and reciprocity, there is support from Ceres in terms of what Pluto is trying to do, because Pluto is trying to transform us so that it brings balance back in, so that there is fairness, so that there is reciprocity. But to uncover where things are not fair, not balanced, not reciprocal, that takes deep soul work, because perhaps we've been in a situation that we thought was fair, and now we're realizing with this illumination of hidden truths from the full moon and from the Neptune retrograde, that perhaps it hasn't been fair all along. And that can be tough. So again, sensitivities with the moon in Pisces. Yeah. So this could all be making sense to what you're going through in your situation. There is also a square between the South Node in Scorpio and Pluto. So whilst Ceres can expand the energy and support Pluto in the deep transformation that's needed, it's challenging when it comes to karmic stuff. It's challenging when it comes to past life stuff. And it's challenging when it comes to illusionary stuff that's being revealed as illusionary. And that makes complete sense, doesn't it? Of course, that's going to be challenging to be faced with all of that as part of this transformation. Let's look at what the expansive energy can do for us in terms of expanding the fairness. We've got to go through the transformation in order to get the fairness. And by doing that, we've got to face these challenging aspects. But boy, oh boy, Do we become stronger and more sovereign as a result when we come out the other side? When we come out the other side of the cocoon as that beautiful butterfly, that analogy of transformation. Yeah, this is just a massive cocoon we're going through at the moment. Perhaps feels never ending to some of you, but you know, we're always evolving. So it's like a constant cycle of that. This is particularly heavy because we've got Pluto and Saturn doing their thing. Let's end on a positive note. So there is also, with the blue lines here, between Mercury and Uranus. So Mercury is in Cancer at the moment and Uranus is in Taurus. There is a sextile here. So that's another positive aspect. So between Mercury, communication, expression, and Uranus, the planet of change, there is that supportive energy. So where we know that things need to change, Uranus, regarding our worth and values, Taurus energy, we are being supported to express that. Mercury, from a place of unconditional love, Cancer energy. Yeah. So that's also helping us because, again, we need to change. Uranus is saying, let's change. And what I'm going to do now, because I'm getting lost in the moment, folks, I am going to pull up the chart with the UK so that we can give some context to these placements. And this is for the UK. Apply your own natal charts as appropriate. Apply your own country's natal charts as appropriate to give a better view for how it might be affecting you. Of course, if this resonates for you, fantastic. This is my interpretation of the astrological data, and this is a freeze frame of the cosmos at 7 p.m. in the UK on the 7th of July 2023, 777. The UK's natal chart is the inner wheel and the transits are the outer wheel. So that's the transits for tonight at 7 p.m. UK. And I've put the colours on like I've had before. So these trines with the green lines here, okay? So with Saturn and the trine across to Juno and the Sun, we've got Saturn in the 9th house of Pisces for the UK's chart, and Juno and the Sun are in the 12th house. So that's hidden energy. That's Pisces house, you know, that is the ethereal house, the spiritual house, the subconscious house. So in terms of the soul essence, again, that's very much reliant on that spirituality aspect within. And our partnership, when you think of the Juno energy, our partnership with our soul, our partnership with our intuition, and how that works in harmony with what Saturn is trying to do, because Saturn is helping us through these lessons discover 9th house, what needs to change, because that goes hand in hand with the Pluto energy and the Uranus energy, transformation and change. So when it comes to our beliefs, which is also 9th house, and what we're discovering about ourselves on this journey, Saturn is helping us because that is where Saturn is, and that's currently where the moon is. So these discoveries might be causing sensitivities in our emotions. Neptune is also there, further illumination. So that's actually perfect for the 9th house of discovery, isn't it? Because we need to discover certain things. We need to have things illuminated to us. And staying on the 12th house, Mercury is there. So with that sextile between Mercury and Uranus, okay, so we've got Mercury in the 12th house and Uranus in the 11th house. So change with regards to connections with others in accordance with our worth and values, Uranus, 11th house Taurus, is supporting the Mercury energy and vice versa. Mercury is supporting Uranus with that sextile within the soul. So that communication from our soul, from the subconscious of where things need to change, can then be expressed accordingly. And the Cancerian energy, allowing it to come from a place of unconditional love. Let's not forget, we've also got the UK's natal Pluto in the 12th house. So that is deep transformation within the UK's chart that's going on. And the Sun is currently, at this time, conjunct Pluto. So heightening of that transformation that could be hidden, deep rooted, hidden subconscious transformation. With regards to Chiron, Chiron is actually up here in the 10th house. So the 10th house of inner authority and social status can also be the house of work as well. So Chiron in Aries, healing of our sovereignty, of our warrior self in terms of our inner authority. So becoming empowered to have that inner authority, and also so that people see us, social status, as that sovereign being of who we truly are. Chiron is conjunct the UK's natal sun. So within our very soul, that essence of that Aries energy, of that sovereignty is there, but the healing has had to take place. And the trine, of course, is with Venus over here in the 2nd house of worth and values in Leo. So we know, yes, there is that fire energy supporting the fire energy of Chiron as well. But the nurturing feminine energy within the 2nd house of worth and values is helping us heal where we need to heal in terms of our sovereignty. So we need to recognize that in order to feel empowered within our inner authority, we need to be in line with our worth and values, because that's what drives us forward. If we are fully aware of our worth and also our values, and we know that situations and those around us are not in alignment, that's what can also help change. So that's part of the evolution, the transformation, and it's also part of the healing, because we're discovering what is in alignment with our sovereignty and what isn't. And Venus is nurturing us. Imagine Venus putting that sort of, arm around us, nurturing us through, because there is that trine positive aspect to the healing journey when it comes to this, because we've got to realize our worth and values. And that's where Mars and Venus are currently close together, 4 degrees away. They're both in the 2nd house of worth and values. So we're bringing that balance within ourselves of the masculine and feminine, which is bringing us that harmony within, which is ultimately what we want, because then that's reflected back to us in our external reality, but it starts from within. So we get that balance within our worth and values as well. That's going to really boost our inner authority, isn't it? So that's what we need to focus on, maintaining that balance and that true expression of self, the Leo energy within our worth and values, 2nd house, to help the healing journey within our sovereignty. 10th house, Chiron, Aries. Okay. And we've got Pluto over here in the 6th house. So because Pluto has retrograded back, he was in the 7th house of relationships. So there was definitely emphasis on relationships and connections that needed to change, because we've got Uranus in the 11th as well. But he's now moving back into Capricorn, has retrograded back into the 6th house. Daily routines and schedules and well-being. So cleaning house, what do we need to transform here when it comes to our daily routines and schedules? What do we need to transform in order to improve our well-being? And Ceres in the 3rd house of communication, calling for that fairness again, that supporting energy to bring the fairness and reciprocity in, is in the 3rd house of communication. So because there's a trine, that is going to help promote expression of that. So where we do need to transform our daily routines and schedules, we should feel empowered through that expansive energy of Ceres and the fairness of Libra to then be able to express that where we need to express it. And that's also going to help our well-being, because if we can be outspoken where we know we need to change things, that's also going to bring in the fairness, and it's going to help the Chiron healing of our sovereignty as well, because we become more empowered within our sovereign self. The square, I will just mention the square, which is the red line. Of course, Pluto and the South Node, as I mentioned, the transformation is being supported, but it can be challenging where there's karmic stuff. Now, the South Node is in the 4th house here for the UK, so in our foundations. So when it comes to our foundations, this can be a tricky one to navigate, because perhaps within our foundations, we've always believed something to be true and right, and illumination of these hidden truths might be showing actually it's not, the foundation is not as stable as I once thought it was. And of course, it's the opposite house to the 10th house. So it could be work related. But not only that, it does have that opposing energy with our inner authority. So if we don't feel our foundations are safe and solid, perhaps we feel less empowered to be our true self because, oh, you know, I've been knocked off, you know, my foundation a bit here. And it maybe feels a bit unsettling. So this energy could be bringing up unsettling feelings. So part of the transformation is unearthing where foundations are not true. Part of the transformation is unearthing where karmic situations are coming up within our foundations, 4th house, and it's deep stuff, Scorpio energy. Pluto is Scorpio energy. So this is deep, this is heavy, there's no getting away from it. But we can utilize, as I said before, the trine energy of knowing and realizing that these things are happening to bring fairness and balance back into our lives, and also so that we can meet Saturn's needs of getting into alignment with our true spiritual self. And that's going to help all of what I've just said in terms of inner authority, empowerment, the change that's being called for, getting in line with our worth and values, bringing that balance of the masculine and feminine within us, and ultimately being our true expression of self. As we move into Leo season, we want to be that courageous lion and that true expression of self. So I think I'll leave it there on the chart. I'm quite passionate about all of that, as you can imagine. But it's certainly a time for us to, you know, persist with this transformation that we're going through, to persist with our healing journey. We've got so far, and as I said before, you know, and I make light of it because it can be intense, but it feels that we've been in this cocoon for a long time. And it's like, when is this need to transform going to stop? When am I actually going to be transformed? And the reality is we are. So even now, if you look at your situation and reflect back on 6 months ago, even 3 months ago, are you the same person? I would hazard a guess at probably not. And this is all for our highest good. So we may not feel it at the time. Pretty horrendous going through all of this, the karmic stuff that's been flying up to the surface, all of this stuff to do with, you know, our inner wounds. So these can be abandonment wounds, inner child wounds, many things coming up to the surface for our attention. That is harsh. And, you know, we've persisted through it. So let's keep going. We're sovereign beings. We are all divine. So when you recognize you can access that divinity within you, that soul essence within, that's our communication to the divine, it's our inner compass. Our intuition is not going to lie to us. We've got to realize we need to embrace the shadow aspects as well, because that is reality, light and shadow. That is the reality. So we need to work with the energy in order to go through this transformation. It's deep, but it's necessary. And Saturn is bringing karmic returns. So as well as serving up these lessons and a lot of karma coming up, you know, he's also serving karmic rewards. It might be that we're having to go through further lessons, but it's all for our highest good. Once we've learned that lesson and we can carry the wisdom forward, leave the pain in the past, carry the wisdom forward, great, we've made Saturn happy. And then Saturn is able to deliver those karmic rewards. But it just depends on everybody's situation. We're all different. We're all on different paths, and we've all got different lessons to learn. And if you believe in past lives, as I do, we've been here before, some of us many times before. And it feels almost as if this lifetime is a culmination of many lifetimes coming up to the surface. But when you can embrace that, you can truly understand the root cause of why certain things are happening now in this lifetime. It's all part of the healing process. So let's pull some cards, if you're still with me out there. Astro Codes deck. Okay, so let's just get some extra guidance on this 777 portal day with the extra 7 from me today. See what we have from the Astro Codes. Okay, what do we have for the collective, please, for this 777 portal? Thank you. We've got one already. Wow. What was I just saying? Thank you, Spirit. Saturn. There we go. Okay, what else do we have, please? 777 portal. What do we have for the collective? What does the collective need to know for their highest good? That one definitely wants to come out. Wow, 4th house in reverse. Yeah, foundations. So I was just saying that's where the South Node is for the UK's natal chart. So foundations that are actually not foundations, it's the recognition of that. And Saturn is showing us that. Is there anything else from the astro codes? Thank you. Opposition energy. So that's in reverse. Okay, so it's appreciating where there is opposing energy, and on the bottom trine and sextile, so that's the positive aspects. So yes, we might not be, because this is hidden on the bottom, we might not be aware fully of the positive aspects that I've just shown you. Okay, instead we may be focusing too much on where there is that opposing energy, the challenging energy. So it's recognition that there is harmonious energy within the planets and the asteroids to help us, instead of focusing just fully on the challenging energy. So I guess it's like recognizing things are happening for us and not to us or against us. And underneath that, we have the 10th house of authority. So I was referring to that as well in terms of our inner authority. And certainly, you know, how people view us as that empowered sovereign self, because what happens then? We lead by example. We become that inspiring, motivating, empowering leader of our life that can then shine the light to help others do the same. So the knock-on effect is tremendous. The ripple effect of that, but Saturn is definitely making his presence known. Okay, so this introspective period whilst he's in retrograde, let's get into alignment with our spiritual truth. Let's take some from the Queen of the Moon, seeing as we did have a full moon recently, and see what there is from the Queen of the Moon. That sovereignty coming through once again. Gratitude in reverse. Okay, and I feel that that's gratitude for these lessons that are coming up as it relates to Saturn. Okay, thank you. The void. Wow. Yeah, that's entering that sort of dark night of the soul type energy. One more, please. The 777 and Kirsty's extra 7. Okay, wow. So on the bottom, masculine in reverse. Okay, we do have fruition that came out sideways. So this is just a reminder to say that we can grow, we can manifest what we want to manifest for our lives. Things will come to fruition, but we need to plant those seeds in order for the harvest to come, if you like. And we need to recognize that if we've not felt fully in our sovereignty, because the masculine energy is very much there within the chart, you know, within Chiron, within what's going on for Venus and Mars, particularly with the Leo energy, you know, there is that kind of intensity to the masculine side, because we're wanting to get things done. It's almost like we're wanting to churn our way through this transformation as quickly as possible to get it over and done with. Not maybe appreciating that we need to allow for the feminine energy within us to nurture us through, so there's more of a flow to it, because then we have more clarity, we receive more clarity when we can get into that flow, that connection to the divine in that way. So we can grow what we want to grow, but we need to experience this. Okay, that's going through that void where it almost feels like, oh my goodness, you know, what's going to come up now? And it's like the dark night of the soul, but it's also that retrograde introspection. That's what I feel from that, because we have somebody down here almost resting. So I feel it's more of that introspection, and then the lessons that we are receiving from Saturn, okay, because Saturn did show himself, and this could be lessons within our foundations, 4th house, and inner authority, 10th house. We need to have gratitude for everything. So gratitude for all experiences, even the challenging ones, even the difficult ones, even the painful ones. That can be hard, because if something or someone has hurt you, that can be hard to even find the energy to give gratitude. But when we can look at it from a different perspective and we can say, okay, that hurt me and it's brought up lots of wounds within me, or it wounded me further, for example, how can I possibly give gratitude into that situation? Well, the gratitude comes from the wisdom that you've received from that situation or that connection, whatever it might be. Because although you experience that pain, would you go through something like that again? Probably not, because you've learned your lesson, Saturn. So therefore, you're wiser. You've had to become more resilient and stronger. So you've transformed, you've evolved, you've kind of ascended that situation. So it's almost the detachment from it to leave the pain and all of the crap in the past and to move forward with the wisdom within your soul, recognizing that you are stronger, more resilient, and that's not going to happen again because I'm focused and I'm more into my sovereignty. I'm more in touch with my sovereignty because of that experience. And that's where I can give gratitude. Don't get me wrong, it can be challenging to do that. And I feel this is why also within the astrology, it's showing that challenge between the karmic stuff, South Node, and Pluto. So what we're being asked to transform is deep karmic stuff. And this is where detachment from it can be hard to do. So it's in our best interest though, but we've got to realize we have the power. We have the power in our hands to create our reality. So, and that's down to us because we are the co-creator of our reality with the divine. We've got to meet the universe halfway, but we are the ones responsible. Nobody else is responsible for our reality apart from ourselves. And that should also serve as some empowerment because of everything that we've been through on this transformative journey is getting us to a point where we are self-sufficient, with the caveat of not being blocked off to receive, because we want to receive divine blessings. We want to receive divine love, joy, and abundance that we are worthy of, but we need to feel worthy of that first. So going through this transformation, we are learning, we are discovering. Saturn in the 9th house for the UK, we're discovering these lessons. We're discovering the karmic stuff that's been coming up and why it's been coming up. And that's helping us get to a point where we are stronger as a result. So the sovereignty is there. We've always been sovereign, but maybe only now we are realizing it because of conditioning and programming of the past. And I could go on and on and on about that, and I won't do that now. But because of all of that, and we've become programmed to a certain way of thinking and believing ourselves to be, or what we are expected to be in society, and it's wrong. So this is where we need to bring it back to our divinity and understand who we are. And that's what Saturn is trying to do. So even though it feels harsh, Saturn is trying to get us in line with our spiritual truth, who we are as a soul. But to do that, we need to face what our values are, what is our worth, to recognize that and to understand it. And then what around me is no longer in alignment with that. That's where the change is needed. That's where the transformation is needed. And it's all for our highest good. So I'll leave it there. And I'm sending you 11 blessings on this 777 portal day. And it was just a little kind of ad hoc astrology report from me to you. So I hope it resonates. If it does, of course, I'm hoping that it's going to inspire, empower you and motivate you to move forward on your transformative journey. Absolutely. Shine your light bright for everybody else. We can become guiding lights for people. The ripple effect is significant. So find that strength within. Automatically, you're empowering other people to do that by being in your truth. I will be back another time with a special astrology report, and I have put out some sort of promo clips for that. But yeah, I'm doing a special astrology report on the Hollywood vampires, so I'm super excited about that. I have also previously done an astrology report on the Cannes Film Festival. That was actually for Johnny Depp's film premiere, so I did that on the 16th of May, and that was just prior to the premiere taking place. And the reason why I'm doing this Hollywood Vampires special is because some of the things that I refer to in that report have actually come to fruition. So now, because he's on tour with Hollywood Vampires, but I'm going to actually do a special, and I'm going to cover each of the band members within that special as well. So very exciting. And I went to see the gig recently. Best thing I have ever been to in my life. So I encourage anybody who might be interested in that show to go and see it if you can, because it was absolutely outstanding and it's inspired me to do this astrology special. So that will be coming up at some point. And if it doesn't resonate for you at all, that's absolutely fine. It's not going to be for everybody. I appreciate that, because not everybody wants to hear about the Hollywood vampires. So, you know, take it if you want to, leave it if you want to. That's absolutely fine. But I'm going to put the content out there because it's something that is quite interesting. So yes, I'm sending you love and blessings, and I'll be back soon. Take care, everybody. God bless.